Oh, I know. Up yours, Jeff. We just got done with the 2017 draft. You haven't even done all the videos you're going to do about the 2017 draft, and you're already doing the 2018 mock draft. This is way too early. Yes, it is. It's insanity. I understand. But again, when one draft finishes, the work for the next year's already begins, and it has already begun for me. It is a never-ending cycle. Please understand that. So it's always exciting when one draft is kind of finished to look ahead to the next year and try to envision what could potentially happen. So a couple of things to talk about with this 2018 NFL mock draft, version 1, the way too damn early edition. It's 2 rounds, and you can peep all the picks in the description box down below. Also, the order of picks is determined by the odds of winning the Super Bowl that Vegas put out just after the draft had concluded. So please keep in mind that this is not some, indictment of your team or some overrating of some team. I'm just strictly going off of Vegas odds here. Next thing, I'm sure I'll get the smart asses that'll talk about how dare you have this guy this high or how dare you have this guy this low. You don't know what you're talking about. And maybe I don't. And you probably don't either. Because at this point in time, who knows what could happen a year from now and over the course of the next year. And I point out examples that happen in every year's draft, like 2016, heading towards that draft after the 2015 draft. Most every mock draft would have had Cardale Jones, Christian Hackenberg, and Connor Cook as first-round picks, and none of them ended up being as such. Even this 2017 NFL draft, going back to 2016, all the talk about first-round pick was around a guy like a Deshaun Watson, and he ended up being, but you had people mocking him to be number 1 overall. Nobody had even knew about Mitchell Trubisky or even heard about Mitchell Trubisky, or was talking about a Davis Webb, and he went into round number 3. Or you look in this draft that just finished specifically for guys that were mocked really high and ended up not going there. Tim Williams from Alabama, was getting top 10, top 15, maybe top 5 type of buzz. And that didn't happen. He went in the middle of round 3. Malik McDowell was getting a lot of top 5, top 10, top 15 mock love a year ago, and even a couple of months ago. And he ended up going around 2. Desmond King was a lock-solid, surefire first-rounder. He went in the 5th round to San Diego. So as much as we think we don't know, the fact is we probably don't know beans at this point in time. So we'll see what happens. In terms of the early outlook for this draft, you have teams like the San Francisco 49ers, the Cleveland Browns, the Buffalo Bills, that would appear to be the power players, easy for me to say, in next year's draft. You've got the 49ers with 2 second-round picks, a great move by them, peeling out of round 3 in 2017, getting the Saints' second-round pick in 2018. Whenever you can take a pick from one year's draft and turn it into a round higher the next year, to me, you got to do that every time. Then you look at the Buffalo Bills and trading back to Kansas City's draft pick from 10 to 27 in round 1, got them an extra first-round pick in 2018. You have a new front office, new general manager, new scouting department that's going to be coming in a good position for them to come into with 2 first-round picks along with their second-round picks. So you've got 3 what you classify as kind of marquee picks. And the Cleveland Browns look to be right now the big-time power players. The trade down they made with the Houston Texans to go from 12 to 25, got them a 2018 first-round pick. The Browns are still in draft pick currency collection type of mode, to where if they're out of position to draft a quarterback in 2018 and they really like one of them, they can deal for whoever the hell they want to because they're going to have so much ammunition. If they want to trade for a Jimmy Garoppolo or a Kirk Cousins or whatever the case might be, they have the currency in terms of draft picks to be able to do so and do so comfortably. 2 first and 3 second-round picks, they are going to be sitting in, again, a real position of power here. And for a team like the Cleveland Browns, a team like the San Francisco 49ers, and to a lesser degree, a team like the Buffalo Bills, this is the type of draft that you want to be in a major position of power. Because for them, you would argue, quarterback-desperate franchises, it would sure appear that the 2018 draft class is going to be deep, talented, and loaded at the quarterback position. I'm looking at a quarterback class that might be as good as 2004's, if not better, and probably better in terms of the depth of talent that is there. Ladies and gentlemen, this draft class of quarterbacks at this moment looks like it could be really special. You're going to hear a lot about Sam Darnold for USC. You'll see I only have him as going number 2 overall to Cleveland. I've got Josh Allen from Wyoming going number 1 overall. Sam Darnold's going to get a lot of comparisons to Andrew Luck, and they're appropriate. He definitely looked like the real deal last year at USC. A well-rounded guy with arm strength, with accuracy that's impressive, athleticism, mobility. You know, when he came in to play for USC last year and he took over the starting role, you felt like you got the BMOC type of aura from him. Like, this dude was in charge, he was in command, and it was incredible to see. And you saw the performance of the bowl game against Penn State, outstanding stuff. You'd bet a lot of money right now if you had to get into futures betting for the NFL draft that Sam Darnold's going to be taken very high and end up being a franchise quarterback at the NFL level. And you feel like you made a pretty safe bet, and you probably have. And I think there are going to be plenty of teams that will look at Darnold and feel that way, but they're going to be intrigued even more by Josh Allen's upside and potential. I know you're going to hear talk about the level of competition at Wyoming. You're going to hear about a guy whose decision-making sometimes is shaky. You're going to hear about the lack of great accuracy. But if you actually watch Josh Allen, you come away, in my opinion, more impressed and more in awe than you do Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold seems to be a little bit more polished and well-rounded right now, but Josh Allen's upside is even larger. Incredible stuff. And for me right now, he's my number 1 quarterback heading into the 2017 college football season, the 2018 NFL draft, and I'm sure a lot of NFL teams either feel that way now or are going to in a couple of months. The dude is a stud, just like Darnold's a stud. But that's not all you have in terms of potential studs in this draft class. I think Mason Rudolph from Oklahoma State is going to get slept on quite a bit because a lot of attention is going to go to Sam Darnold and then Josh Allen. And you're going to look at Mason Rudolph and say, well, he just doesn't have that same level of athleticism and mobility, and he doesn't. So some teams might be concerned about that a little bit. But he's got some arm talent too. He's got an ability to be really accurate down the field. Now, sometimes he throws with too much touch. And yes, at times he will struggle to extend plays with his feet outside of the pocket. But I feel like his movement skills within the pocket are solid enough. He has enough pocket presence to be able to compensate for that lack of natural athleticism. And the arm talent is there. If he can learn to differentiate between times he needs to put touch on the ball versus time he needs to kind of fit it into a tighter space, you're looking at a guy that, to me, is only a step below Allen and Darnold. And for a team like the Jets, if they were picking number 3 here, which, by the way, I don't think they are, they're in either suck for Sam or job for Josh mode right now. They're trying to get that number 1 overall pick, and they're doing a good job of positioning themselves to do so. But Mason Rudolph, I would be surprised if it was him or Luke Falk that ended up being the 3rd quarterback drafted in 2018. And Luke Falk's a guy that I think has a lot of first-round potential on him as well. You're going to hear, or probably see, I should say, a lot of mocks that have Josh Rosen, the Rosen one, as that kind of 3rd quarterback in this class. And I don't see it yet. Wonderful mechanics. You know, visually, from a mechanical footwork technique, throwing motion standpoint, it is a joy to watch. But not nearly the athlete of Allen and Darnold. Doesn't have nearly those guys' arm strength. And then you're going to have some off-the-field concerns about him in terms of his maturity, in terms of his leadership, in terms of his work ethic, in terms of his priorities. There are going to be some questions on him. And I just think that he's not in the same class as these other 2 guys, frankly. I think he's still potentially a first-round talent. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like where Brad Kyle was getting mocked an awful lot in the 1st round a year ago for the 2017 draft, if Josh Rosen was one of those guys that had somewhat of a fall, still declared, but ended up going a couple of rounds later than everybody expected come 2018, especially coming off of the shoulder injury. Now, he could come back and be that business in 2017 and put himself right in the conversation with Allen and Darnold. It's very possible. But as it stands right now, it doesn't look that good. I've still got him going in round 1, but you could have guys like Lamar Jackson take that spot from him. Jarrett Stidham from Auburn take that spot from him. DeAndre Francois from Florida State take that spot from him. Maybe somebody like a Matt Linehan from Idaho. Maybe somebody like a Riley Ferguson from Memphis. You can maybe dismiss some of those names, but the fact is you don't freaking know. But what I do know at this point in time is that this 2018 draft class looks to be really good on paper, and where the strength of this draft class really is on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line class is so far superior in 2018 to what it was in 2017. The running back class is only a small step down. The tight end class is a bit of a step down for sure, but the wide receiver class I think is better. And the quarterback class is most certainly better. If you're a team that needs a young quarterback, a team that is desperate for a young quarterback, you might have been disappointed in what was available for you in general in 2016 or even 2017. You won't be disappointed, I believe, in 2018. You're going to be able, several teams, to get a guy that could potentially be that dude for that organization. And that's going to be the major talking point about this draft class. The major interest in this draft class is going to revolve around the quarterback position. Now, in terms of some of the guys, as you look on my draft board and you look at it, you see like Equanimeous St. Brown, Chukwuma Okorafor, and so on and so forth. And you're going to sit there and say, I'm crazy for having these guys this high. The fact is, you have some guys that are always projected high every year, as I've referenced some recent examples, and they end up not going that high. And then you have other guys that kind of come out of the woodworks, come out of nowhere for a variety of reasons. Okorafor, an offensive tackle from Western Michigan, former soccer player, has really good feet for the left tackle position and the size to be able to stick at left tackle at the NFL level. A lot of teams can fall in love with that athletic package at that position. Then you look at an Equanimeous St. Brown from Notre Dame. You know, there's a good wide receiver class with Christian Kirk and a proven commodity like Calvin Ridley and James Washington, Cortland Sutton, maybe Deion Kane you throw into that mix. But you're also talking about a dude that's 6'6", that's got some wheels on him and got some big playability. You know, teams are going to look at a guy like this, and I'm pretty sure right now Equanimeous St. Brown is in no first round of any 2018 mock draft. And I might be the outlier here. I might be absolutely freaking insane. But every year we see these guys. You got to go on record for somebody. So those are just a couple of guys I happen to go on record for at this point. Call me crazy if you want. But anyways, if you need offensive help in the 2018 draft class, it looks like you could get a lot of help in many different areas. Defensive side of the ball, there could be some studs there, but just not as strong of a defensive draft as 2017 was by any stretch of the imagination. There's not one group in this class that I look at, outside of maybe 3-4 edge rushers, that I say, wow. And even with the 3-4 edge rushers, I like guys like Harold Landry and Arden Key and Josh Sweat, but I don't look at them and say, wow, these guys are superstar type of guys. Well, maybe Harold Landry I do a little bit, but just not the same level of depth and talent in the defensive class of 2018, the way it looks right now compared to what was 2017. The 2018 draft is going to be about the offensive side of the ball, and most importantly, for a lot of teams fan bases, it's going to be about the quarterbacks. So if you ever wanted to pick a year to suck in the NFL and get that young quarterback, the 2017 NFL season, I promise you, is the season your team and you are going to want to do it. Because if you do, you might find that your organization instantly changes, and changes for the better for many years to come.